Hi, my name's Ahmed, and I'm just a kid. I'm a teenager with big dreams that are not so big anymore. You see, I'm making this video because, like any other teenager, I felt like I've wasted my youth. I've never had the quote-unquote times of my life, some would say. I spent a lot of my high school years studying for my grades or working on other extracurricular activities. And eventually, I got sick of that. I wanted to make memories, so I promised myself my last year of high school would be the best. I'd revive my already dead social life and maintain a good academic track record. But I find it funny how that's around the time the COVID-19 pandemic started. I spent a lot of year 12 busy with extracurricular activities like Model United Nations and World Scholars Cup. I was always in meetings during break times and planning my next lesson, planning my next meeting, planning. I think somewhere along that journey, I kind of lost myself and everyone around me. I was so consumed by work that I lost my social life. And don't get me wrong, going to Model UN conferences was probably my favorite memories, and planning for my own school's Model United Nations conference will always be close to my heart. But I can't help but regret not spending more time with my friends, because I was constantly planning for the future, and when that falls apart, you're left with nothing. I always expected my senior years in high school to be the best times of my life, or where I'd ask someone out to prom and have a graduation. But I think I speak for almost all of us when I say I never expected my final years in high school to be dictated by a pandemic. Quarantine, lockdown, COVID-19, these words were absolutely non-existent in my vocabulary, and suddenly they became a part of my everyday language. Though I think one of the best things to come out of quarantine was my chronic addiction to video games. It's funny because I always thought video games were a waste of time, so I never played. But having played Apex Legends, Genshin Impact, and Valorant with my friends, I saw my relationships with them develop, skyrocket even, and I was having so much fun. It brought me a peace of mind and stability amongst all the uncertainty. Although now I've kind of become indoctrinated by all these Twitch words like Monka S, Pog, and PogChamp, which is totally cringe, I know, but I guess that just means I've fallen far deep in, and honestly, I'm fine with that. A lot of the hope I had was gone. Don't get me wrong, quarantine gave me a lot of time to think, reflect, and start new hobbies. It gave me a lot of introspection to change myself and become a better version of myself that I'm more comfortable with. But I thought it would have been over by now. Almost 1 year later, and my country still has high cases every day. Everything has become online, school, Model United Nations, prom, and even graduation. With my exams being cancelled, online school has been, well, really shit. I mean, there's nothing wrong with school, but with everything else going on in the world, it's just been a lot. Recently, I've kinda come to this realization that life is meaningless, purposeless, that there is no destination. I've always grown up looking for my purpose, my calling, my passion. Was it film school? Was it art school? Was I meant to pursue engineering? I'll never know because it's all bullshit. Your passion is whatever the fuck you want it to be. Life is purposeless in a good way. We don't need to have this predetermined destiny or destination or future passion in order to live. We have to live for ourselves and our own purpose. I promised myself to live. I wanted to live more vicariously, make the most of it before I go off to university. And I want to say that I did. I made a lot of friends and made memories enough for a lifetime. Although I never expected things to end up like this, I'm glad to have reconnected with a lot of close friends. The future is certain. I mean, the future is uncertain, so fuck it and live. Whatever that means to you, fuck it and live. I'm still processing the trauma that was quarantine and everything that came after that. Healing is a long and complicated process, and many of us are still healing throughout this pandemic. It's not linear, easy, nor beautiful. Healing is hard. There's this one quote that I read that keeps me going a little on my worst days. One foot, then the other. Don't look at all 5 feet at once. Just take a step. And when you've taken that step, take one more. Eventually, you'll make it away from the cliff. And you'll make it to tomorrow too. And to next year too. Doing something prompts you to do something else, replacing a vicious cycle with a virtuous one. Most big transformations come about from the hundreds of tiny, almost imperceptible steps we take along the way. A lot can happen in the space of a step. And to conclude this video, thank you to past me, who has brought me to the moments I live in today. Thank you to myself now, who is always working towards hope for the future. And thank you to future me for still existing. I hope you've achieved what you've always wanted to. To whoever's watching, take a deep breath in and out and realize that you are exactly where you are meant to be. You are in complete control of your life.